You, Judy. I want to start off by just having a brief touch base here on the environment that we're looking at. There is a marketing piece that you add on to CRM. And what that marketing piece does is it allows more of the automation of leads and other things out of the box. Our sandbox today is experiencing an issue we discovered yesterday. So I will talk through that, but later on we will schedule another webinar that deals strictly on the automation of it. So what we'll do today is we will discuss leads, how leads can be used, how leads can manually be created, imported, created from an email that you may have, different things along like that, how some of the start to finish processes work, like how a lead can graduate to an opportunity to a sell, and different things along those lines. So the one thing that I'd like to start with is a lot of times there is leads that come in. So really, what is a lead? A lead is something that you have spoken with someone, let's say your sales team or anyone, you've spoken with someone, they've expressed interest in either a marketing campaign you may have did, upcoming webinars such as this, trade shows, different things along those lines. D365 Dynamics offers you 3 different ways to actually create a lead. So the first and foremost one is manually, by just clicking a new button, is you're able to come in, and then from this point on here, I think the one key to remember is the more data we collect, the more information we have to report off of and let the analytics start to build different things that we can either score on or base, is this a warm one? Is it cold? Kind of give us percentages maybe of opportunities. This has a 40% chance of closing versus a 20% chance, different things along those lines. That is the key piece that the additional CRM add-on adds, is it adds that scoring feature. And in that scoring feature, you're able to go in, and what's nice about it is you can go in and you're able to pick the criteria yourself that you want to base it off of. It could be something as simple as they get a point for each touch base you have with them. It could be that they get certain points based on their effort back to you, different things along those lines. So again, we'll talk about that from a different point. So again, your topic, and I'm not going to create one from scratch, that way you don't have to watch me type, but we'll just take a common one. So a topic might be something along the lines of, following up from information. You're also able to categorize this in what type of lead was it. This is item-based. Item-based might be on something I'm selling, whereas service-based could be a service that you provide. Work-based might be, jobs that you're doing. You are able to add these, add as you want to. These are just some of the base ones that we have. Of course, then, you have your demographics, name, rank, serial number, job title, contact information, anything that you can get with the company, city location. And a lot of times the good reason for the city location, maybe that is because kind of what area that you're getting your stuff from. So maybe there's a certain area of your territory that you would want to, get more from than the other. One of the other things is we're able to add what they call a lead source. So a lead source can be, as simple as this, or again, as detailed as you want. Keeping in mind too that lead might come from a marketing campaign that you have in place. So let's say that we're focusing on, upgrades at one point, or we're focusing on a certain product that we're offering for sale. We might have a marketing campaign that deals strictly with that, so we can do promotionals, different things along those lines. With that, of course, also comes a rating. You know, in our case, I've just got hot, warm, and cold. Again, you can add and make those what you want. You can have as many statuses. Maybe you have, it's a new one, they've been contacted, different things like that. You know, things along the lines like that, more than not interested or don't want to. We'll get along into those when we talk about like a qualifying or disqualifying process later. The other thing is keeping in mind, again, you can have more details in here. Anything that you have in here, again, is just going to help you down the road with gathering the data and maybe how it's presented and how you go after different things along those lines. And then a nice thing with CRM also, and this is not just dealing with leads, this is once it gets to contacts, you know, is there a preferred method? Does this particular person only want to be emailed or only want to be phoned or, you know, paper mail, fax, those type of things. So that way, when you're doing maybe marketing campaigns and things like that, you can say, hey, I only want this to go out to people on the email list. And that way you're not bombarding someone with emails who really doesn't want to get an email. Different files could be any of the attachments you want with them. And then related, the related is where you can get into, like we were talking about, is this related to a market list? Relations can also be, is this something where it's in a competitor's market? Or is this a customer of a customer? Almost like a lead relationship, let's say. You know, what does this lead maybe how does it interact with somebody else? So with that being said, is a manual lead will just be there, you save it, you have that type of information. Another way to do it is, again, going back to the link that CRM has with the other Microsoft products, is by opening a email up that you have. You can quickly and easily launch Dynamics, and then from here, once everything loads up, you'll have the option here of, this will tell me that this particular person, which is me, is not tracked. Well, again, with one click of the button, I can add it as a lead, I can add it as a contact, and any of the data that I have within the email that I am mapping. So we could have a mapping progress that might be based on the username, email, you know, any other things we have in here. But adding it as a lead would automatically bring that into CRM and then put it in there. And then from here, you'd be able to do what we call the quick lead, which would then give us the same type of information. So again, that is a alternate way to do it. An easier way to do it, or an easy way to do it, is a lot of people will do it with a bulk one. So what you can do is, I have set up a lead template, and all that lead template basically has is the key fields that I have mapped in that I want to create. So I could go out from, let's say that we were doing an upcoming, our golf outing, for instance. I've got the sign-in list that people have on there, and maybe along there, you know, they've said, oh, I'd be interested in A, B, or C. Well, I could quickly jot that down while we were out of the office, you know, at the golf course or at somewhere. And then when I get back in, I would be able to import this back in. The key thing being is, because it's a template, I just have to make sure that the fields I have stay in the line, that I don't make changes on here. And then with that being said, you do an import from Excel. It goes out, it looks for it. You've got access to all your files, different things along those lines. So those are the main key things to do. Keep in mind that on a couple of the things we talked about, a lead source, the lead source is used a lot for reporting and strategical decisions. I might base my source on, you know, do I want to put more of my marketing dollars next year into trade shows? Do I want to put them into public events? You know, different things along those lines. And that goes back to one of the original things I brought up is As much information as you can capture will lead to assisting in the qualification and maybe even future record creations. So when we talked about, and I will just briefly show this, just because on an import, this is where we're able to map. So in my spreadsheet, I would say that when it sees what's in the field topic, it comes into, say here, topic and CRM. Of course, these are pretty generic, but again, we could, call it whatever. You're just saying that this list here on the right is from my import sheet. The list on the left is what I will push it into once it gets into CRM. So the other thing that we should talk about is let's say a lead management lifecycle. So typically a lead goes through a qualification process. That process could be anything that you create. In our instance here, we have a lead to opportunity. I've got that it goes through 4 stages. I've got a qualify station. So in this qualify, I've got different reasons to qualify it. Is an existing contact, is an existing account, is there a time frame for purchase? Again, you have control over what we grab here and what we do. But at each stage, we can push it to the next stage. So we go from a qualified stage to maybe to a developed stage. So what's the developed stage? Maybe this is where we get a consultant or someone else involved with them to kind of hold solution for them. Someplace where we bring in someone else, maybe you need someone from your development team to assist in something. Basically someone who knows the business or the product that you're dealing with, who's able to speak to it from a customer to whoever that person is, and just identify more of what is the need. Once you have the need, then of course we go to, let's call it the propose stage. This is where we identify, that we either need the sales team to give them numbers, we need to put a proposal together, maybe internal reviews, different things along those lines. What this does is as each of these stages happens, you're gathering the information to also tell, hey, at what point am I with this particular lead or into an opportunity? Has the lead been qualified and turned straight into an opportunity on day one? Very possible. Does it take sometimes weeks to do it? I would have to say that each organization's and each industry's lead to close or lead to sales cycle can be different. Some could be very short, some could be long. But reasons, or let's say criteria for qualifying or disqualifying a lead. Having several phone calls or in-person meetings to learn about what the lead wants. That would be a big step in qualifying them or disqualifying them. Another would be maybe researching the information about the organization, their position in the industry, things like that might qualify them, again, depending on what it is that you're marketing. Identifying potential competitors. Speaking with someone or speaking with the lead from their side also. Do they have interest in your project? Do they have interest in your products? Different things along those lines. And then maybe even, where did this come from so I can get it to the right person? It could be an account manager, could be from a sales territory, different things along those lines. In the long run is you want to capture enough details to be able to make a qualifying decision to say, is this something that should be qualified and we continue to work on? Is this something that we should put to bed for a while because I just don't feel that they're ready yet, or the customers expressed interest or concern that they're not ready? different things along those lines. A qualify, by qualifying someone, it is as easy as clicking the qualify button, and then once you hit the qualify button, you know, it'll give you some information. So this is Yvonne, she's with Fourth Copy. It could exist. I might be updating a contact. I might be adding a new account. I could also be saying, from a disqualifying standpoint, you know, they're no longer interested. I can't contact them. They got lost in the shuffle somewhere. And when I say lost in the shuffle, let's say lost in the process. That could be something as no contact. You know, sometimes we refer to it as, you know, they've gone cold. So they're just not reaching back out to you trying to do it. Again, all of the data that we collect is giving you the tools. So the research has been done. With today's day and age, it could lead to the use of AI, artificial intelligence, down the road to help us start managing these by the data they collect. So again, you have different things like that. The other thing is that within CRM and within leads too, is we can have multiple leads, or excuse me, multiple views. So I could have just my open leads. I only want to see leads that are associated to me. But let's say that I am the sales manager. I might see all leads. As you can see here, these are just some of the out of the box ones. Open leads, closed leads, all leads, my open leads, leads opened this week, leads opened last week. Those are just ones that come out of the box. The main thing to keep in mind is as your role in the organization might determine which of these views you have access to right out the gate. Keeping in mind that you are able to, whether you create them or your people can assign them as needed. But again, all these right here is being given one. So it shows I'm not following leads right now. This right here could show closed leads, leads from a particular campaign. So from a campaign might show me that, hey, this particular one, you know, came from the web, and maybe that web is tied to a marketing list. Different things along those lines is just something to be, you know, considered. The information with these records could be something that is timeline related. You know, are they in a chronological order? Do I want to see oldest to newest? Is this ones where we have already made appointments? We've already made phone calls. Again, you are able to go in and identify each of those along the way that would help you do this. Now, one of the things a lot of people might ask is, what happens if you disqualify this, no longer interested? When you do that, this is never going away. Keep that in mind. If I actually go back to our leads and I looked at the open leads, they are no longer an open lead. They've went to a closed lead position. What's nice though is to reactivate them is as simple as going back in, reactivating the lead, and then again, your business process might have something involved that tells you what it is that you need to do or want to do. The other thing I'd like to just talk about again is I've included this in your documentation. It is more like the opportunity, so the business. You receive a business card at a trade show. You know, the lead gets entered into Dynamics. In this case, Tom calls on the lead, gathers all his information, interacts with the colleagues, maybe meets face-to-face, qualifies the lead, and then we go into the opportunity. The opportunity could be eventually what it is that you're going to sell them, offering for services, different things along those lines. That is a lot of what the lead to opportunity sales process here is doing. It allows you to move them based along, you know, as of the actual stage that you're in. Again, the lead qualification is simply what you choose to set it as. A disqualification, as we've got in here, maybe you weren't able to connect with the league within the time frame for a certain promotion. They might be disqualified. You've contacted them, and now that they hear more, maybe they're not interested in the products and services today. Maybe the lead, the service or product they need is more than what you have at this time. Well, that could be an opportunity to actually go back and maybe, try to create something along those lines to maybe say, hey, we should really go into this line of business, something just like that. Or it could be as also simple as there's a risk with that client that might not be in the both of your interests. And then the 4 ones that are with the box and ship are lost, cannot contact, no longer interested, or plain canceled. Keeping in mind that, again, that sales cycle could be out there for as long as you need or as shortly as you need it. Qualifying the lead, again, what you need to get a lead as a contact into GP is the name, into CRM would be, their name. Titles are usually needed, so you know who you're dealing with in the company. Sometimes who the company is, so that if you're grouping people together, you don't have contacts all over the place. You're at least associating them so that when you go to one place, that contact is there. You could also, this would be additional stuff, is maybe the value. Is this a $20,000 investment that we're looking at? Is it $100,000? You can put a dollar qualifier on it. Again, what's nice about it is CRM has no, say, out of the box, you have to do it this way. You are in complete control of how you qualify, disqualify, follow up, different things along those lines. With that, the one thing that we also are able to see is there are a lot of reports that might be based around the lead. Your marketing lists, quick campaigns, all of this right here is part of the marketing platform. You would just, Judy could help you with what is kind of, let's call it the out of box marketing versus when do we need to go to the next level. With that, if there's any questions, I'd be happy to ask them, whether they be through the chat or you can raise your hand and Judy can facilitate that.
Okay, Alan, I have a question. There was one thing I was always taught trained to never delete, use the delete option, to always disqualify. Can you go into a little bit what the difference between if I click delete, because I'm done with this, I'm no longer going to use it. So delete, poof, why should we be disqualifying them versus deleting them?
I would say that there's 2 reasons that I would choose disqualify over delete. The first and foremost is once you delete them, they are out of the system completely. You have no record that they were there. With a disqualify is you can have a reason why. So maybe there's a reason. It could be as, even to pick on myself, I didn't like the presenter who came out and did this. So maybe I just rubbed them the wrong way. So, but hey, if I go back and talk to you and hey, let's get someone else involved, maybe they have a peppier attitude, would you at least give us another shot? That's one thing to look at. The big thing would be is because if they're disqualified, I could go reactivate them. By reactivating them, I have all of the information I had from day one. I don't have to rekey, retype, or anything along those lines. Those would be probably the 2 main reasons I would disqualify and put them to a closed versus not.
Perfect. And maybe it's a different product versus if you were just qualifying them because they didn't want a specific product you had from them. Maybe there's a different marketing campaign you could run on your reports for those with a different product. They were interested in something similar, but here, maybe you're interested in this one. And then you still have all their information. Great answer, Alan. Thank you.
You bet. That's a very good, what you just said, Judy, is by disqualifying them, I can also put in information as to why we disqualified them, which, like you said, which can be reused for, 5 months from now. Oh my God, this might fit, that need they had. We didn't have it then, now we have it. So again, you've got the information there. Once you've got it, it's just taking up, and I didn't want to say take up space, but it's in the system. It's always going to be there till you really decide that you want to get rid of it or not.
Oh, that's wonderful, wonderful. And thank you so much for that handout. That is so very helpful. I've started going through that and I just want to sit down and spend more time with it myself. So thank you so much. Any other questions someone else might have? Feel free to type questions in the question or chat box. And want to thank all of you for attending today. And we will be doing these CRM webinars periodically, sometimes once a month or every 6 weeks. So we love having you here with us and showing your interest in the CRM questions and products. Well, I think that's it. Thank you so much, Alan, for your sharing your knowledge here with us, and thank you to all the attendees for coming today. Have a great day.
Thank you, Judy. Thank you, guys.